So I wanted to record this video for families of young kids who wonder what will happen to their kids on day one if something happens to them. The solution to that is much easier than you might think. My name is Ed Kagan. I'm the founder of Kagan Law, and we do estate planning in Florida. My office is based in Tampa, so I essentially help families in the Tampa Bay area and several counties outside of that. Um, the reason why I wanted to record a video about this is because I think it's an area that isn't served well by most estate planning attorneys. In fact, I recently had a conversation with a life insurance agent who's a referral partner of mine, and he said that he had a great amount of difficulty even finding estate planning attorneys who would take a referral of a family with young kids because they're typically not the families that have a lot of money, a lot of assets, the ones that need advanced tax planning, and that's where the attorneys make most of their money. I actually really like taking on clients like that, families with young kids, even if they don't have a lot of assets, because of personal experiences that I've had. I'm a parent of one bio kid, two stepkids, and my wife and I have been foster parents to eight children. That experience as being a foster parent kind of enlightened me as to what happens to kids when they're taken away from their parents or when their parents are taken away from them and the trauma that it can cause in the kid's life. And it really changed how I do estate planning. And that's why I'm recording this video. Um, One of the things that we do as part of estate planning for families with young kids is we don't just depend on putting a declaration of who the guardian should be in the will. That's what most estate planning attorneys will do. And the reason for that is that it takes time for people to find a copy of your will, to hire a lawyer, for the lawyer to draft a petition for guardianship, get that heard by the court, and then the court renders a decision, hopefully appointing the guardian that you selected in your will. Um, it can take months. It can take quite a long time. Uh, what happened to the kids during that period of time? What I like to have is a plan for what happens to the kids starting on day one. Where are the kids going to sleep that night? Who is going to have legal authority that same day to take care of them, to drop them off at school, pick them up at school, make medical decisions, and all of that? Florida has a technique available that a lot of estate planning attorneys don't use. It's called a pre-need guardianship form for minors. When you fill out this form, you can go ahead and file it with the probate court right away. And upon filing that form, it gives your chosen guardians the legal authority to take care of your kids as a legal guardian immediately upon something happening to you. Even if you're just in the hospital, you're not dead. They have the legal authority, and that legal authority lasts for a limited period of time, but that accomplishes two things. One, you know where the kids are going to go that night. You know who has the authority to take possession of your kids because it happened automatically. Second, it gives enough time for the family to get a lawyer, file a petition for formal guardianship to be appointed, and you know where your kids are going to be during that period of time. There's also an additional kind of side benefit. This isn't a legal benefit, but practically speaking, from the perspective of a foster parent, the Department of Children and Family and the social workers, they don't want to put the kids in foster care. That's the last choice for them. If they don't have any direction from you as to what should happen to the kids or where they should go, then that's why the kids are going to end up in foster care. Once the kids are placed with someone who has the legal authority, even if you go past that 30 days, DCF isn't going to remove the kids from that person as long as they're a fit parent. So having that pre-need guardianship form really accomplishes a lot of goals for keeping your kids safe and making sure they're being raised and cared for by the people that you want. The second thing that we do is something that I learned from being a foster parent. When we had kids dropped off at our house, we knew nothing about them. We didn't know what foods they liked. We didn't know what their bedtime rituals were. We didn't know anything about them. We had two girls that were dropped off at our house that needed to watch the entire musical Little Orphan Annie before they would settle down and go to bed. Um, you need to know stuff like that. You need to know what food will this child eat, no matter how stressed out they are. no matter how upset they are. And for me, when I was growing up, it was Kraft macaroni and cheese with a little Parmesan cheese sprinkled on top because that's the way my mom made it. Every kid has their own little, you know, oddities about how they need to be cared for, what their bedtime rituals are, how they need to be instructed or disciplined, or what they eat, or where they go, how they're cared for. Do they do a timeout? Do they do something else? So what I do is I create a family action plan. It's a two-page document that I give to my clients, and it's basically a list of all the questions that my wife and I had when kids were dropped off at our house. All the things that we thought parents would need to know about our kids in the event that they had to take care of them for a period of a month or so. And we just, I have the questions written out and blank spaces for clients to fill in the answers. And then I tell my clients, don't keep this document with your estate plan because the sheriff's department or the social worker from DCF isn't going to go look for your estate plan. I tell my clients to keep it on the side of their refrigerator or keep it on their cork board or whiteboard where they keep the kids' school schedules. And right at the top of it, it says Family Action Plan, Attention Sheriff's Department. It's also something you can point out to your babysitter that this is the document that has all the contact information and who the pre-need guardian is and how to get in touch with them, all kinds of stuff like that. But that's the practical side. Um, our office can take care of the legal documentation, but the family has to have a system in place to make sure that when that sheriff's deputy shows up at their house, it's easy to find that document that says, hey, stop, I've got a preneed guardian already in place. This is who you should call. Don't call DCF. Call this family at this number, and they have authority to take the kids. Um, and once my clients have all this paperwork in place, just take a deep breath and relax because it is highly unlikely that something is going to happen to you while your kids are little. If you're lucky enough to have a two-parent home, it's even more unlikely that something is going to happen to both of you. But at least you know that in the worst case situation where something does happen to you, you have a plan in place for what's going to happen to your kids starting on day one. And that's the beginning of how I take care of families with young kids and why I like receiving referrals of those kinds of parents, unlike a lot of other estate planning attorneys. So people had suggested to me that I should record a video like this to let people know, practically speaking, what they can do to put into place a plan for what happens to their kids starting from day one. If you like this video, I plan on doing at least a couple of others about other things that I put into an estate plan to kind of lay out a path for success for your kids, even if you're not going to be around. So I hope you like the video. If I'm going to post this on YouTube, I suppose you can hit subscribe and like the button. I've never done a video like this before. Maybe this will be the beginning of a series of videos. But thanks for tuning in.